How you guys doing tonight? Welcome to the channel. Shout out to all my patrons. Strong in the chat. Today we're going to be talking about Apollo Quiboloy. This recently hit headlines and involves Hawaii because there are tons of Hawaii locations. And so we're going to get into that today. Hope you guys had a good day. Let's get into it. Apollo Carrion Quiboloy, 71. A Filipino pastor and church leader of the Philippines-based Restorationist church called the Kingdom of Jesus Christ. He has made claims that he is the appointed Son of God, as well as being the owner of the universe. Tell me, how do people like this get away with it? Just so, in case anybody's wondering, Restorationism is the belief that Christianity should be restored to how the apostles initially set up the church. They see it as a way to find like a pure, more primitive, ancient form of religion. And his church is a Restorationist church. Quiboloy was born in 1950 in Buhangan, Davao City, Philippines. He only recently, in the last few decades, started this church. He was typically a member of the United Pentecostal Church, and that's a oneness Pentecostal denomination, if you guys are familiar with these denominations. It's affiliated in the U.S. They have one called the United Pentecostal Church International, or UPCI. They reject the Trinity and instead believe the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit are different manifestations of God as opposed to separate persons. So that's basically what delineates them as their own denomination. So this is a little bit of background. Apollo becomes the president of the UPCP youth organization in 1974, but gets expelled from UPCP for unorthodox teachings in 1975. He comes back and was accepted back into the UPCP in 1980 and became the pastor of the Agdao Church in Davao City. So he starts to blow up, he gets real popular, and everything was going really well. But in 1985, Apollo was put under investigation again by the UPCP for his arrogant attitude towards other pastors rather than submitting to trial. He left the UPCP with some 15 people on September 1st, 1985, and started his own denomination that we now call the Kingdom of Jesus Christ. His followers refer to the community as a kingdom nation, and they claim about 2 million kingdom citizens abroad outside of the Philippines and 4 million in the Philippines. So they're claiming about 6 million followers. They have churches in Hawaii. My guess is a dozen. They got Waipahu, Eva Beach, Mililani, Pearl City. They got one in town, Makakilo. They got on Windward Side in Kaneohe. They have Salt Lake. They got at least 2 in Maui, Lahainang. They have Kahului. You know what? I'll leave you guys a link. This is a link to their location in Waipahu. Right there in the chat. He has received all kinds of critical responses to his claims of being the appointed Son of God. There are some creepy stories, though. I don't know if you guys remember this. I had never heard of this, but... So he has claimed to possess divine powers, and he claims that he was the one that stopped that 2019 Cotabato earthquake, and just by saying stop, or whatever it was. And he says that the public should thank him for his act. He publicly said that he did not do the same to stop the onslaught of Typhoon Kaumuri in response to those critical of his earlier claim of stopping the Cotabato earthquake. So he said he stopped the Cotabato earthquakes. Su Wong Hong, what's up, Song Woo Hong. What's up, Song Woo? Hey, thanks for all your support, man. I appreciate you. I see you in the comments, and I responded to your email that you hit me up. Okay, so he stopped that Cotabato earthquake. And then everybody made fun of him for saying that he stopped the Cotabato earthquake. So when Typhoon Kamuri came around, he said he didn't stop it because of those who are critical of his earlier claim of stopping the other one. He's got a global television ministry. It's called the Sunshine Media Network International, of which he's the president and CEO. And 17 new news radio stations in the Philippines. He has 2 newspapers, the Pinas and the Sikat. The Pinas is circulated weekly in North and South America, Europe and Middle East, Africa, Australia, New Zealand, and Asia. Quiboloy anointed this dude named Gilbert Teodoro as the next president in 2010 Philippine presidential election. So during the campaigning, he anointed Gilbert Teodoro, which is always a great idea. That always ends well. He says, "Tonight let it be known to all Filipinos that the Almighty Father has appointed the president of this nation. He is no other than Gilbert Gibbo Teodoro." Quiboloy told thousands of cheering followers that he was going to be anointed the president. And Teodoro finished 4th in that election. Must have been a bad signal. In the 2016, 6 years later, 2016 national elections, Quiboloy and the members of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ endorsed the presidential candidacy of the pastor's close friend, Davao City Mayor Rodrigo Duterte, and his running mate, Senator Alan Peter Cayetano. Quiboloy also lent his private jet and helicopter to be used in Duterte's presidential campaign. Quiboloy has been sued in the past by a former church member for allegedly brainwashing and holding her young daughter against her will. It's safe to say this guy is the R. Kelly of the church. In November of 2019, Quiboloy was made fun of. This is a little spooky, I'm not going to lie. In November of 2019, Quiboloy was made fun of by a man named Vice Ganda on a show called It's Showtime for his claims of stopping the series of earthquakes in Mindanao just by exclaiming, "Stop." So Vice jokes and challenged Quiboloy to also stop the country's longest running television series, Ang Provinciano, which had been airing on ABS-CBN for at least 5 years already. So this would be the equivalent of us having someone show up in the news and say, "Hey, I stopped Hurricane such and such." And then on Saturday Night Live, they do a sketch making fun of that guy, saying that he stopped the hurricane. And also saying, if you're so powerful to stop that, why don't you stop American Idol? Because we're all sick of seeing that every week. That's the equivalent of what he just said. Well, Quiboloy confidently accepted the challenge and declared that in 4 months, not only would Ang Provinciano stop, but also the entire network would be shut down. On May 5th, 2020, the National Telecommunications Commission legally ordered ABS-CBN to cease its TV and radio broadcasting operations after their 25-year broadcast franchise expired the previous day, May 4th. The station then officially signed off at 7:52 p.m. local time the same day. More than 2 months later, on July 10, 2020, the House of Representatives of the Philippines junked the new ABS-CBN franchise after a 70-11 vote. It looks like this guy, maybe the signal picked up on this one. He got good signal on that first hurricane. The signal went bad. He must have drove in the tunnel, the Wilson Tunnel, for that second hurricane. And then he picked up a signal when he got on the other side. And shut down their longest running show, television series. That's creepy. That'd be like some guy saying, okay, I'm going to shut down American Idol and Fox or whatever. I don't even know what channel that's on. And then American Idol getting kicked off and then Fox going out of business. So Quiboloy on May 6, 2021 was met with ridicule and outrage online after he proclaimed himself as mankind's savior by being the last person to sign everybody's supposed clearance for salvation. He was signing everybody's vaccination cards. Without the so-called clearance signed by him, everybody would be denied of redemption from their sins come Judgment Day and would accordingly perish in hell. Quiboloy was indicted recently through a 74-page indictment charging him with sex trafficking on November 11, 2021. The indictment charged him of coercing girls and young women to have sex with him, as well as running a sex trafficking operation that threatened victims, including children as young as 12, with eternal damnation and physical abuse. These young girls were forced into so-called night duties where they were sexually abused by the pastor. U.S. prosecutors also noted that he used church donations to pay for his lavish lifestyle. Prosecutors have stated that they will also retrieve Quiboloy's U.S. assets originating from ill-gotten wealth. So, that's background on Apollo Quiboloy. Let me tell you what the superseding indictment says, okay? I'm going to break that down for you so you can see what's going on. This is important because this church is all over Hawaii. Some of you guys probably bought some Zippy's, fundraiser tickets from somebody at a street corner on Waipahu Depot Street. Somewhere in the Pupus, you stopped at a stop sign and you bought some Zippy stuff. You bought some chili and it went here. Santa Ana, California. The indictment unsealed Thursday charges the founder of the Philippines-based church and 2 top administrators of orchestrating a sex trafficking operation that coerced girls and young women to have sex with the church's leader under threats of eternal damnation. These expand on the indictment that was unsealed like 8 months ago or whatever when you guys first heard about this, against the 3 Los Angeles-based administrators of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ. I'm going to call them KOJC, okay? The 9 defendants named in the 42-count indictment are charged with participating in a labor trafficking scheme that brought church members to the United States via fraudulently obtained visas and forced the members to solicit donations for a bogus charity. The Glendale-based Children's Joy Foundation, called CJF. The Children's Joy Foundation. How sick do you gotta be? Donations that actually were used to finance church operations and the lavish lifestyles of its leaders. Members who proved successful at soliciting for the KOJC allegedly were forced to enter into sham marriages or obtain fraudulent student visas to continue soliciting in the United States year-round. So they were so good at what they did, to reward them, he forced them to marry someone from the States so they could get proper paperwork to stay here full-time to solicit all the time here in the U.S. No doubt taking advantage of the Filipino counterparts in Hawaii. The indictment, which was returned by a federal grand jury on November 10th, expands the scope of the 2020 indictment by adding 6 new defendants, including Apollo Quiboloy, who was referred to as the appointed Son of God. 3 of the new defendants were arrested on Thursday by federal authorities. And I'm going to get into who those people were. The remaining 3, including Quiboloy, are believed to be in the Philippines. They don't even know where this fool's at. So, the defendants charged in the indictment are Quiboloy. They think he's 71, but everything he says is a lie, so they don't know what to believe. Whose primary residence is a KOJC compound in Davao City, Philippines, but who also maintains large residences in Calabasas. I don't even know how much that's got to cost. Las Vegas and Kapolei, Hawaii. If anybody knows where this dude lives in Kapolei, Post it in the chat, please. I want to see this dude's house. Teresitas Tolibas Dandan, also known as Tessie and Sis Ting, 59 of Davao City, the international administrator, who was one of the top overseers of the KOJC and Children's Joy Foundation operations in the U.S. The third person is Helen Panilag, 56 of Davao City, the one-time top KOJC administrator in the U.S., who oversaw the collection of financial data from KOJC operations around the globe. Felina Salinas, also known as Sis Eng Eng of Kapolei, Hawaii, who allegedly was responsible for collecting and securing passports and other documents from KOJC workers in Hawaii, as well as directing funds solicited to church members, to church officials in the Philippines. And she was arrested on Thursday. So she lives in Hawaii as well. Guia Kabaktulan, 61, the lead KOJC administrator in the U.S. who operated KOJC compound in Van Nuys, California. She was charged in the original indictment. Marissa Duenas, 43 of Van Nuys. She was an administrator who handled the fraudulent immigration documents for workers. Wait till you see what they did, guys. Amanda Estopare, 50, another Van Nuys-based administrator who was charged in trafficking and reporting the money raised in the U.S. to KOJC officials in the Philippines. Bettina Padilla Roses, also known as Cookie. How fitting. 48, a fourth administrator who allegedly handled financial matters, was arrested in Reseda on Thursday. And finally, Maria De Leon, 72, a resident of Koreatown neighborhood of LA, and the owner of Liberty Legal Document Services, who allegedly processed fraudulent marriages and immigration-related documents for the KOJC workers. She was arrested at home on Thursday. The three arrested on Thursday made their initial appearances in the U.S. District Court in Los Angeles and Honolulu. So, the indictment charges Quiboloy, Dandan, and Salinas with participating in a conspiracy to engage in sex trafficking by force, fraud, and coercion, as well as the sex trafficking of children. Children, guys. These three defendants allegedly recruited females ranging from 12 years old to 25 to work as personal assistants, or what they called pastorals, for Quiboloy. The indictment states that the victims prepared Quiboloy's meals, so they cooked for him. They cleaned his houses. They gave him massages, and we all see where this is going. And were required to have sex with Quiboloy in what the pastorals called night duty. The indictment specifically mentions 5 female victims, 3 of whom were minors when the alleged sex trafficking begins. This reminds me of Ravi Zacharias. If you guys know who Ravi Zacharias is, maybe I'll do a breakdown one day of that. It's always painful to hear something so horrible. Defendant Quiboloy and the other KOJC administrators coerced pastorals into performing night duty. They keep saying this throughout the entire indictment. That's what they called it. That is sex with defendant Quiboloy, under the threat of physical and verbal abuse and eternal damnation by defendant Quiboloy, because he's the one that signs your passport, your heaven passport. But, I mean, it makes sense that they would believe that. Think about it. They're kids, guys. They're kids. And they're taught that he signs their passports to heaven. And he actually gets their passport signed to come to the U.S. So, like, as children, they project what they see in the physical. So this is a dude that literally is the one that gets them a passport. Figures it out. We find out now it was all fraud. And then gets them to the U.S. and they're grateful. And then he tells them he can sign their passport to heaven. He tells 6 million people that. So, defendant Quiboloy and other KOJC administrators told pastorals that performing night duty was God's will and a privilege. as well as a necessary demonstration of the pastoral's commitment to give her body to defendant Quiboloy as the appointed Son of God. The indictment alleges the sex trafficking scheme started no later than 2002 and continued to at least 2018. We're talking 16 years, folks. During which Quiboloy and his top administrators caused the victims to engage in commercial sex acts by ordering female victims, including minor victims, to have sex with defendant Quiboloy on a schedule determined by the church leader and others, including Don Don. The victims who were obedient were rewarded with good food, luxurious hotel rooms, trips to tourist spots, and yearly cash payments that were based on performance, which were paid for by money solicited by KOJC workers in the U.S. and Hawaii. These girls were getting paid money based on their sexual performance. They were between 12 and 25. And it was with money that he earned by raising funds by KOJC workers. As a part of the alleged scheme, the three defendants told female victims who expressed hesitation at night duty, because who wouldn't, that they had the devil in them and risked eternal damnation. Furthermore, Quiboloy would threaten and physically abuse victims who attempted to leave KOJC or were not available to perform night duty. So he would threaten and physically abuse them when they attempted to leave the Kingdom of Jesus Christ Church or were not available to perform night duty, according to the indictment, which also alleges Quiboloy would physically abuse victims for communicating with other men or engaging in behavior that upset him because he considered such conduct adultery and sin. So he'd beat up these girls if they talked to other men, probably if they slept with them or had boyfriends or whatever, because he's told them that that was adultery and sin. Victims who managed to escape KOJC suffered retaliation in the form of threats, harassment, and allegations of criminal misconduct, according to the indictment. Quiboloy would give sermons broadcast to KOJC members around the world in which he would allege that victims who escaped had engaged in criminal conduct and sexual promiscuity activity and therefore faced eternal damnation in order to discourage other victims from leaving, retaliate against and discredit their victims, and conceal the sexual activity between Quiboloy and the victims. Quiboloy, Don Don, and Salinas are charged in one count of the indictment, which alleges the sex trafficking conspiracy. Each defendant is charged in at least 3 to 5 substantial counts of sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. The indictment also outlines KOJC's nationwide soliciting operations, and this is where Hawaii comes in, which allegedly gave rise to additional criminal conduct, including forced labor, labor trafficking, document servitude, marriage fraud, and money laundering. Under Quiboloy's direction, KOJC administrators allegedly brought workers from the Philippines to the U.S. and confiscated all forms of identification before forcing the workers to spend long hours illegally soliciting money for KOJC outside of the businesses across the U.S. So, we've heard this before, right? If you guys haven't watched my video on massage parlors, I will go ahead and post it right here in the video as it's posted later if you missed the live. But you can go through my channel and find the video on my massage parlors. And this is exactly what they do. This is human trafficking at its basic form as we know it in Hawaii. They will bring workers from the Philippines. In the massage parlors, it'll be Korean. There's some Filipino, there's Thai. And that's what's pretty typical. And then they will take all their IDs, passport, they'll take visas, driver's licenses, social security cards, whatever they do have. They'll take them away from the girls. Minority Report. Doug, did you say you got a massage parlor? No. Sorry, my massage parlor video, not my massage parlor. That would be hilarious if I had a massage parlor and I was doing expose videos on what really massage parlors are like in Hawaii, just to shut down all the massage parlors and then make all the money myself. So they basically take all their documents, they force them to spend long hours in the massage parlors that's doing massages and sex acts. But in this case, they brought them from the Philippines, took all their ID, forced them to spend long hours illegally soliciting money for KOJC outside of businesses. And that's why you guys have heard of them selling mochi. While KOJC workers told potential donors that their money would be used by the Children's Joy Foundation to help impoverished children, the money was actually used to directly finance KOJC operations and the lavish lifestyle of KOJC leaders, including Quiboloy. So the KOJC administrators, including this dude, they maintain the legal immigration status of workers who proved capable of meeting daily cash solicitation quotas by fraudulently obtaining student visas for such workers, or by forcing them to enter into sham marriages with other KOJC workers who had already obtained U.S. citizenship. So, check this out. If you met the quota, and whatever that quota is, let's say they said you got to bring in $100 in donations today. If you met your quotas, they would actually get you student visas, all through fraud, using that one company in California, or they would force you to sign documents to get married to one of their other workers that they successfully got U.S. citizenship. So some of them got U.S. citizenship through fraud, some of them got student visas for fraud, and then some of them, they would just force you to marry the person who actually got U.S. citizenship. Some of the workers were moved around the U.S. to solicit donations as Children's Joy Foundation volunteers, who were also called full-time miracle workers. That's what they called them, which sounds like a perfect name for a massage parlor at Century Center. Full-time miracle workers. According to the indictment, the workers fundraised for KOJC nearly every day, year-round, working very long hours and often sleeping in their cars overnight. An indictment contains allegations that a defendant has committed a crime. Every defendant is presumed innocent until he is proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. You guys all know that. So let me get into this. The sex trafficking conspiracy charge alleges in the indictment carries a maximum penalty of life in federal prison. The 5 other sex trafficking charges each carry a mandatory minimum of 15 years in federal prison with the potential of life, but they have a minimum of 15. And the additional fraud, cash smuggling, and money laundering offenses in the indictment carry statutory maximum penalties from 5 to 20 years in federal prison. I will put a link here. Those with information are asked to call the FBI's Los Angeles field office, and you can contact the FBI through the website as well. I'm going to leave a link right here in the chat for you. If you guys know anybody or know anything about that, please feel free to give the FBI a call. Tell me what you guys think. What are your experiences? You guys ever met these people? I don't really know much about them, to be honest with you. What's up, Nons? What's up, Marissa? Nate Fleming in the house. Tweak Mode 808. What's up, bro? 808 Eco Beast, how you doing? Thanks for coming through. Shaka's all around. TK Halani, what's up? What's up, Pamela? So shame these guys. Minority Reporter said Big Island get them. Kai Lyons. How's it, Doug? Sorry I missed last night. I was taking my wife and son to the airport. No worries, Kai. Thanks for coming through, man. Glad I could catch you off work. I did one late enough. Rusty, put him in a cage with a horny gorilla. Sounds good, boo. 808 Eco Beast, as long as he doesn't raise my rent. Circa. Johnny Walker, how's it from the land of smiles? What's up, Johnny Walker? Tweak Mode 808 says they used to sell Krispy Kreme all the time, and they would always be pushy with asking donations for the charity. No way. So you've seen them before. He said, get them in the Gila Walmart parking lot selling their charity stuff. Ended up buying a Krispy Kreme one time and dated her, went to the church one time, and highly red flags, didn't want to have another baby's mama, so that was a hard no. What was it for you? Bro, if you would have got his heaven passport, it'd be worth money right now. Pam says, that's Westgate Center, Waipahu, near the Leeward Drive-In. Yep. Again, thanks, Songwoo. Appreciate you. Island Hawaii says, are they the ones selling butter mochi door to door? Yeah, they do that too, Tweak Mode said. Also candy. 25 Actual said, false prophets and mega churches proliferate. Make your own butter mochi. That's good advice. I'm going to make a shirt that says, make your own butter mochi. I almost told the girl, straight up, you're being trafficked. Out of nowhere, they pop up and ask, Island Hawaii said. Sup, Shauna? $25 Actual says, nah, he get money. Philippines is more corrupt than anywhere. Brandon Riley said, is this the same guy they found the plane full of cash on Oahu and the lady took the fall? I don't know. You guys know anything about that? Kellsie Lee in the house. What's up, Kellsie? Thanks for coming through. Missed you, girl. You've been busy with school. Island Hawaii said, I bought mochi. The shame. It's like when you give the homeless guy $5 at a stoplight and you see him go buy the batu with it. Except this is much more heinous. You bought the mochi. Poor girls getting trafficked. Shauna said, when in Waipahu, there was this girl that would go around asking for donations for the orphans in the Philippines. That girl turns out to be the one who kickstarted this investigation. No way. I didn't know that. Jerome Kamai, religion is just as powerful as government official, quietly tied. Nan says, drug test these guys. Wonder what they would be test positive for. Pam says, I remember these same people were detained at the airport in 2018 after federal agents found 350,000 cash and gun parts were found aboard their private plane. So yeah, that must have been what Brandon Riley was talking about. Tommy said, saw his program on TV one day and knew he was one of those cult leaders, gave off that vibe. Did he? I've never seen him. I've never watched any of the videos. It looked like it in the thumbnail that I posted on this video. Minority Reporter going to start selling passports to heaven. One-way tickets. Minority Reporter said mochi's what they tried selling them in the Hilo parking lot. Had machines. Tweak Mode said, had machines at the parlor and she would come see me every day and hang out in the back and she wanted to know who I was. I serviced the machines and she wanted me to sample. Sample? Nons, how much did this organization accrue? I don't know, but it's got to be millions. You know what I mean? Jerome Kamai, they came through Waimanalo and there was a little Filipino girl walking, selling cookies. Kyoki 22. What's up, Kyoki? Nan said, I've had interaction with them because my parents live in Waipahu. I've come across them, asked for money in the Pacific Market and Seafood City parking lots. Sharky Rich, watching from Hilo. What's up, Sharky? Thanks for joining us from Hilo. How many people we got from Big Island in the house? I know we got Nans, Marissa, Sharky. So we got Hilo, we got Kamuela, we got Honoka'a in the house. Kona, K-How MC from Kona. Kaileigh Lyons said it was the 6-day-old Krispy Kreme that got me. Hey, in Maui, because Maui has the Krispy Kreme, right? You guys still don't have Krispy Kreme in Oahu, right? And in Maui, do they, can you get them hot and now when the light is on? Can you go in and get them fresh when they're still pouring the drizzle over them? Carolyn Bacon said the Ghislaine Maxwell trial starts later this month. Most people have no idea how global and pervasive human trafficking is. Yeah, same thing. Maybe I'll do something on that. I wanted to look into that too because I don't know how she was walking around for so long. Marcus Soto, sup people? Andrea Sakura. Aloha, Doug from Nalo. Thanks for coming, Andrea. Nan said, sad how they lure innocent and take advantage, and then you're a slave in a foreign country. Sad. Kai says, it'd be funny if this guy was watching this right now. Well, you know he'd be all in the chat telling us to thank him. Tweak Mode. Kailua checking in. Johnny Walker likes P-Nice, so he's susceptible. And Tweak Mode's baby mama still lives in Waipahu. Johnny Walker said, yeah, when the light pops on at Krispy Kreme, there's a line around the block. It's like the mosquito light, the mosquito zapper. Okay, well, I appreciate you guys coming down, man. I just wanted to check in. I wanted to cover this story. I don't know where this one's going to go. This could go deep. This one could be a big one. All the way from the Philippines. Who knows where everything is. So I just want to thank you guys for hanging out with me. I appreciate all the love and support. Thank you to all 64 of my Patreon fam. You guys are the best. If you want to join us for live streams, we talk about Hawaii crime, current and past, the biggest crimes of Hawaii. We go deep on these things every single week. You have access to dozens of past live streams going back 7 months. And most importantly, the thing that I like the most is we got an incredible group of people. You'll love the Patreon fam. Everybody's awesome. And we all love Hawaii. So you can go to patreon.com/Dougkorenic. We meet Monday nights. I think it's 6:30 p.m. right now because of daylight savings time. I usually do them 11 p.m. Detroit time. We're only 5 hours ahead of you guys right now in Hawaii. So come hang out. We laugh, talk story, we learn, and we have a good time. So thanks, guys. I appreciate you. You guys are the best. And until the next time, I'll see you guys Monday night, patrons. Come ready. We're going deep. We're doing the Ji Zhao Li. She's the little girl that went missing and they never found her. She was passing out Zippy's chili tickets. She was selling Zippy's chili tickets for a fundraiser at her school in, I believe, 1986. And she disappeared. So we're going through that this week. So go ahead and get caught up, read your chapter 10, and we'll go deep. Appreciate you guys. See you tomorrow night.